Aditya Sri Krishna Parivartata Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshaksharaya Te Sarvata Sarvasevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Sute Madega Bandho Mad Sangan Mad Guror Mad Mahadana Mad Nistara Mad Bhagya Madananda Namo Hanamon Chagadachanamam Premnaratgataya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is Nrsimha Chaturdashi, May 24th of 2013 in New Sevakunj Temple, Chicago. So tonight we're going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, 18, verse number 9. Today we're going to do 5, 18, 8. It's nice. Both slokas are okay for Nrsimha Chaturdashi. For the crowd tonight, 9 is better. Anyway, life goes on. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namastejas Tejasaya Viravir Bhava Vajranaka Vajradam Sakramasaya Narandaya Randaya Tamo Grasa Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Abhayam Atmani Bhuyashta Om Kshrom. This is prose. The residents of Jambudvip offer prayers. Om, O Lord, Namaha, my respectful obeisances. Bhagavate, under the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narasimhaya, known as Lord Narsimha. Namaha, obeisances. Teja, Tejase, the power of all power. Abhi, Avirbhava, please be fully manifest. Vajranaka, O you who possess nails like thunderbolts. Vajradamstra, O you who possess teeth like thunderbolts. Karma Ashayan, demoniac desires to be happy by material activities. Randhaya Randhaya, kindly vanquished. Tamaha, ignorance in the material world. Grasa, kindly drive away. Grasa, kindly drive away. Om, O my Lord. Swaha, respectful oblations. Abhayam, fearlessness. Abhayam, fearlessness. Atmani, in my mind. Bhuyishta, may you appear. Om, O Lord. Kshrom, the bija or seed of mantras offering prayers to Lord Narsimha. Translation of purport by Srila Prabhupada. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Narsimhadeva, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possesses nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. Purport. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, verse 39, Sanat Kumara speaks of the following words to Maharaj Prithu. Yadapada pankaja pilasa vilasa bhaktya karma ashayam agrantitama udakritayanti shantaha tadavana narektamatayo yatayo piruddha shrotro ganas tamaranam bhajavasu devam Devotees always engaged in the service of the toes of the Lord's lotus feet can very easily become free from hard-knotted desires for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the gyanis and the yogis cannot stop the waves of sense gratification, although they try to do so. Therefore, you are advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Every living being within this material world has a strong desire to enjoy matter to its full satisfaction. For this purpose, the conditioned souls must accept one body after another, and thus his strongly fixed fruitive desires continue. One cannot stop the repetition of birth and death without being completely desireless. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami describes pure bhakti devotional service as follows. Anya bilashita shonyam jnana karma dhyanavratam jnana karonyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttamam. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably, without desire for material profit or gain, through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Unless one is completely freed of all material desires, which are caused by the dense darkness of ignorance, one cannot fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, we should always offer our prayers to Lord Narsimhadeva, who killed Hiranyakasipu, personification of material desires. Hiranya means gold, Kashipu means a soft cushion or bed. Materialistic a person is always desired to make the body comfortable. For this they require huge amounts of gold. Thus Hiranyakasipu was the perfect representative of materialistic life. He was therefore the cause of great disturbance to the topmost devotee, Prahlad Maharaja, until Lord Narsimhadeva killed him. Any devotee aspiring to be free of material desires should offer respectful obeisance to Narsimhadeva, as Prahlad Maharaj did in this verse. End of the purport. Vrindavane Ramanareti Prasiddha Bhumo Tatrapi Krishna Balarama Supadamule Jnanam Param Paramai Krishna Sudharma Tyuktam Dandastu Deva Prabhupada Namo Namaste Sangasara Dukkha Jaladau Paditasya Kama Krodari Nakrama Karai Kavali Kritasya Dorvashana Nigaditasya Narashrayasya Chaitanya Chandrama Madehi Padavalambam Jaladhara Shashivarno Gopavesha Kishoro Sahachara Ganavrindai Kridamana Vrajesho Natabara Jatavesho Nilapitam Baradyo Jagadajanana Heto Ramakrishno Nato Asmi Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Pritanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, first of all, when anyone worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, irregardless of what form he takes, the nature of that Supreme Lord, or it could be Tulsi Rani, same story, basically they give themselves to their servants. It's their nature. They give themselves to their servants. And the devotee develops vijnana, realization of who the Lord is and qualities about Him. And that's the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotees don't know anything but their Ishtadeva. That's all. And the Ishtadeva promises to protect them. Narottam Das Thakur says in Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Ashray laye bhaje Krishna tyari nyahe chaje arasaba maro akaran. If somebody takes shelter of Krishna to worship Him, Krishna never gives him up, and everyone else in this world dies uselessly. So the devotee lives a quite comfortable life, to tell you frankly, because Krishna is always protecting, facilitating, and supporting his devotee. And in Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 14, the Lord told Uddhava that the opulences of my devotees will not be destroyed or diminished by the time factor. Nobody can take away the opulences of my devotees. So Krishna gives opulence to his devotees and long duration of life and everything. So knowing this, a Vaishnava and Vaishnavi is simply tolerant of anything that comes along. They take obstacles and turn it into opportunities. They think, well, I only deserve the slaps I get. Any difficulty that comes along, it's all. And most of the time, Krishna makes the devotees free of disturbances and anxieties. What should our anxiety be? Our anxiety be it is to do something for Krishna, because Krishna does so much for us. That's the idea. So, now, Narsimhadeva. Worshipping a Narsimhadeva personally is to destroy obstacles. He's Vigna Vinashak. He destroys obstacles. And in the material world, the materialists worship Ganapati. Ganapati is smart because he worships Narsimhadeva. So even Ganapati worships Narsimhadeva to become Vigna Vinashak, to destroy obstacles in this world. And therefore, Ganapati's devotees can destroy obstacles. Like that. Ganapati destroys these obstacles for his devotees because he worships Narsimhadeva. So Narsimhadeva destroys obstacles. Shani, Shanishchara, the Saturn planet, who basically regulates everybody. He kicks everybody in the pants to get moving. And he himself, he wrote a very famous prayer to Narsimhadeva called Narasimhastuti. Shanishchara Krita Narasimhastuti. That which is written by, prayers to Narsimhadeva written by the Saturn planet. In that, he offered prayers with very nice poetry. Gopi Pranadhana translated it, but actually the South Indian translation was even better than his. So, I asked one Gujarati Sanskrit Pandit, we should distribute a definitive edition, because when Brahmins copied manuscripts in the old days, if they saw a letter they couldn't recognize, then they simply speculated. They put their best foot forward. That's all. So from one manuscript to another manuscript, you always see slight differences here and there. So I wanted a definitive edition to pass out to devotees that had no mistakes in it. So he consulted different manuscripts, and knowing the rules of grammar as he does, then he adjusted it accordingly. Now, why is it good? Why is Shanishchara Krita Narasimhastuti good? Well, Shani's day is Saturday. And so, he said in Shloka 11, Yada Divya Rupa Parimardana Bhava Shali Sanchintayan Sakala Aga Vinasha Kori Bhuta Dvara Graha Samudababa Bitinasham Sattvamanasema Mahidehi Kripavalokan. So he says, if you meditate on how Lord Narsimhadeva is killing Hiranyakasipu, then you'll become freed of all sinful reactions. And Bhuta, fear of ghosts or love the living entities. Dvara, fever. Graha, malefic planets such as Shani. Samudbhava, obstacles. Bhitinasham, the fear of them become destroyed. So at the end of his prayers, see, it's good. So at the end of his prayers, then Lord Narsimhadeva says, I'm very pleased with you, Shani, for offering these prayers. Now please beg a benediction which is certainly good for the world. So Shani said, my dear Lord, if you're pleased with my offering, please bless those that read this offering will develop love for you and free of fear of me. And Narsimhadeva said, Tathastu, let it be so. Shani, there is a period where you roam. It's 2.5 years, Dvarasha Ashtanama, something like that. It's a long time. 2.5 years, he messes up people's life. He says, those who read this prayer every day, or on Shanivara is Saturday, or with his day, will develop love for Shani and be free of Shani. And all the sages went, Jai. All the sages that heard of it, Jai. So basically that's it. And then some devotees in UK says, can we just chant the Nrsinga Pranam mantra? And I thought, we're not going to authorize somebody's laziness. he says, if the benediction of that mantra is the same, if you find the Sanskrit to prove that the benediction of the mantra gives the same benefit, then yeah, you could do it. But basically, we haven't. This Gujarati Pandit, Sanskrit Pandit, says, you take different medicines for different purposes. Not every medicine works. So similarly, there are different mantras for different things, and you take that are made for different things. So you take a specific mantra. Now, Lord Narsimhadeva approved the offering that Shani gave and agreed to give the benediction that he wanted. And Shani asked him, anybody who chants this mantra will become free of fear of me and develop love for you. And Narsimhadeva said, Tathastu, let it be so. Now we don't have the Sanskrit that the Supreme Lord gave that benefit to the standard Narsimhadeva Pranam mantra from Gita Govinda that Jayadev Goswami wrote. Although it may be so, but that's up to him and not up to us, like that. So what should we do? We should probably learn both. Like that. Specifically, and, you don't act sometimes until the last minute when you're really afflicted. So those people who are messed up by Shani, Graha, then if they chant Sinishchara Kritanara because they're messed up, they'll become free. There was a boy that I ran into in Alachua, some years ago. It must have been like 4 years ago. I didn't see him when I was just down there, not too long back. So, his parents said that his mother's from Montreal and his father from I don't know. And they're teachers by nature. And the kid was messed up badly. So, he started to worship Narsimhadeva, and Narsimhadeva took away all his problems. So when I was visiting their house once, then he started to chant this shloka from 5.18.8. And I said 5.18.9 is also good by the residents of Jambudweep. Like that. I didn't see him this time. But Narsimhadeva, he was messed up, that kid. And his parents knew it. So they encouraged him to worship Narsimhadeva, and he did so. And all of a sudden, his problems went away. Like that. It's not bad. So, just like, for example, when you're an old person, you have a lot of aches and pains and bodily problems. Things break. So, I use a cow urine medicine made out of cooked down cow urine, turmeric, and aloe vera, reconstituted with sesame oil. And it destroys diseases. When you use it long term, sometimes I have it in bulk in Vrindavan, and I use it long term in Vrindavan. When you use it for over 2 weeks long, it can penetrate the skin and destroy varicose veins. Reverse it. And that's impressive. So when you benefit from the cows, then you're convinced Go Save is really important and you pull out your wallet. Until then it's theoretical, like that. All this is theoretical stuff. So it's the same thing. The worship of Narsimhadeva may be theoretical for some people, but for devotees it's real. And Krishna destroys all obstacles. He promises in Gita, chapter 18, verse 58, that Chaitasa sarva durgani mata prasara tarasisi. If you think of me in any difficult situation, by my grace you'll cross over that obstacle. So Krishna is not a liar. Everything he says in Shastra is true. The gopis would like to say that because Krishna doesn't surrender to them fast enough. But basically, nobody can ever believe that my best friend is a liar. The coward boys, can they believe that Krishna is a liar? Nah. My best friend's a liar? Nah. Sure, he cheats sometimes for good reasons or something, for his own reasons, but he's not a liar. Anything he says must be applicable. It's a question of who it's applicable for. It may not be applicable for all devotees at all times, but it's applicable for somebody. Otherwise, Krishna wouldn't say it like that. So it's the same way. Now, all of the avatars, including Narahari, they emanate from Balarama, Sandhini potency, the existential energy of Krishna. So today, the fast day is until sunset, because Lord Narahari appeared from the pillar of Indra's realm. Now, of course, the Sri Vaishnavas, they state, they use Ahovalam as a place. Prabhupada said that it was a tirtha, it was a sacred place, full of absorption of Lord Narsimhadeva. And there are 7 temples, and it's really a cool place. And many devotees visit there. But it can't be, Prabhupada said, it can't be the place where Lord Narsimhadeva appeared, because he appeared in the heavenly planets. He was actually sitting, Hiranyakasipu usurped the power of Indra and the throne of Indra. So Narsimhadeva actually took it all back. So he appeared in Svarga, in the heavenly planets. Not on this earthly planet. He accepted that Ahovalam was a tirtha, imbued with the bhava of Narsimhadeva. So that's there. So another thing is, okay, so what should we do? See, the nicest temple in Ahovalam is an Ugra Nrsimha Murti. Ugra means ugly or heavy. Like that. Ugra. Angry. So there's a Murti of Nrsimhadev in a cave. Ugra Narasimha. And he is, basically Ugra Narasimha is worshipped by brahmacharis. Householders worship Lakshmi Narasimha. Nrsimhadev with Lakshmi Devi. And when he appeared, it's ascribed in the Bhagavatam that even Lakshmi Devi was afraid of him. She never saw a form of her Lord so angry and so intense as Nrsimhadev was. Even Lakshmi Devi was. Later on, when Prahlad Maharaj pacified him with prayers, then Nrsimhadev became mellow and peaceful, and then Lakshmi Devi rejoined him. It was described that even Lakshmi Devi was shocked at seeing Nrsimhadev. So, Ugra, angry, heavy, Nrsimhadev is only worshipped by brahmacharins and sannyasis. The Lakshmi Narasimha, Nrsimhadev with Lakshmi Devi, is worshipped by householders. That's the idea of that. So, every one of the avatars, Ramadi Murti Shukala, Niyamena Tishtan, emanate from Balarama. He's the source of everybody. And so, 2 avatars of the Lord, Nrsimhadev, Ramachandra, the fasting is for up to evening. Yet, Balarama only gets a half a day? It just doesn't make sense to me. In the old days of ISKCON, we used to fast all night, up to the night, on Balaram's appearance day. And that makes sense. So, in my individual capacity, either Nityananda Prabhu, Nityananda Trayodasi, or Balaram Purnima, all fast until evening. Then I'll break my fast. There's another thing. That's cool. I stumbled across it. From Brahma Vaivarta Purana in the 8th chapter, Janmastami Kanda. There's 86 shlokas about how to do Janmastami. Some of it is pretty far out reading. Like there's another work of Srila Rupa Goswami, which I haven't consulted yet, called Shri Krishna Janma Titi Vritti. What to do on Krishna's Janma. So, it was pretty important. Janmashtami has always been a very important festival for Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis of substance. So that's also true. So, in that shlokas, it says, if you do Jagaran, all-night vigil, on the appearance day of the Lord, you'll get 1,000 times the benefit of doing Jagaran on Ekadasi. I just came from Dallas. On May 21st, I did Jagaran on Mohini Ekadasi. Stayed up all night there. And we had nice kirtan, and it was quite fun. With about 32 Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, 33 Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and the kirtan was pretty good. So, that's what I want to do, I want to be able to do here also. And maybe, Jai Jagannath was saying a lot of our kirtaniers have gone. They've gone to Gitanagara like that. Hey, where there's a will, there's a way. If there's no will, there's no way. You have to make plans like that and try. And it's not easy. Now, like Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother, in 1996 in Radhakund, he says, nobody should be proud of themselves for doing 24 hours Nirjal. Because previously it was done for 2 days. Now Jagaran, all-night vigil, that's tough. How do you do it? Well, if you got 3 Orthodox Vaishnavas doing kirtan, you got it. What happens in the wee hours when your body wants to sleep? Well, don't stop moving, don't stop chanting, and don't sit down. And if somebody didn't sleep really good the night before, then they're in trouble. They start to feel sleepy at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock naturally. They lead the kirtan. They play the drum or something like that. Then they stay awake, And so these are things that can be done. Hey, if you know you're going to get benefit, why not? So I extrapolated that statement from Brahmavarta Purana. I thought, all right, let me try it. Now I happened to be in Bali, Indonesia at the time. And it was Ram Navami. So I thought, let me try it. So I stayed up all night on Ram Navami. Then, that was a year ago. And the next day, Ramachandra comes in the heart and says, what do you need? Pretty good. What do you need? Pretty good. So I did a Ram Navami again in Ahmedabad. I was there on April 20th. And I had the same. We had about, 30 devotees doing kirtan in Ahmedabad. It's kind of fun. And so it's nice. It's not a bad deal to do it, And like Urja Swat said, he used to be the temple commander in Los Angeles in 1975. I didn't see him. I was just there in Dallas, and I didn't get to see him. He's there. Excuses are like elbows. Everyone's got 2. And these people are so damn puffed up, they think they're already liberated. They got 4 excuses. That was very funny, Hilarious guy, I'm sad I didn't get a chance to see him when I was there in Dallas. He must be out stationed or God knows what he's doing, Hilarious fellow. Temple commander's got to get the work done, huh? They're always behind people to do service, and everyone's got some excuse why I can't do any service, So, if there's a will, there's a way. If there's no will, there's no way. Now, how do you increase determination? Everyone has got somebody. Grandfather, grandmother, auntie, uncle, stupid teenage kid doesn't listen to you anymore, whatever. So, when you do Jagaran on Ekadasi or on the appearance day of the Supreme Lord, then the next day you'll say, my dear Lord, we offered this to you. We did this for your pleasure. Now could you do something about X, Y, Z? Can you bring them to your lotus feet? And Srila Sanatan Pad mentions in Hari Bhakti Vilas, chapter 12, that if you fast on behalf of somebody else, then you'll get 100 times the benefit of fasting for yourself. Giriraj Maharaj, who I met in Dallas recently, who gets the 100%? I said, well, Maharaj, Krishna's a big thief. He'll steal your heart and whatever you're thinking of too. But sometimes he ignores his devotees. He mentioned that to his gopis in the reunion. When the gopis came back after Krishna disappeared, then they were all over his case. Some of them were on his case. And they were trying to say, please, oh stubborn one, please reciprocate our love. So they tried to put Krishna in a corner. Now Krishna's very intelligent. He's not going to be put in a corner by nobody, And so they said, tell us the nature of friendship. And he says, there are 3 kinds of friends. If you're my friend, I'm your friend. The well-wishing parents, they well-wish their children even if they love them or not. And the Atmaramas, they don't care They're so satisfied. They don't care if you reciprocate or not. And the gopi said, which one are you? And he goes, well, I do all three. Then in Shloka 20, he got to the point. 10th canto, chapter 32, verse 20. But the main reason why I sometimes don't reciprocate the love of those who worship me, O gopis, is that I want to increase their love. They become like a person who had some money, lost it, and can think nothing about that lost money again and again. So if Krishna doesn't reciprocate, it means he simply wants you to up your ante. He wants you to up your donation, your offering. And it's very interesting. Now, what are we supposed to do? Today is Friday. Well, if those got a government job, then they're off. Then they can do. If you got a private sector job, you may have to work on Saturdays. Or some people, they do it. They do it anyway. We'll figure it out. Why? There was an interesting thing in Bhakti-Vikas Maharaj's book, Traditional Indian Village Life. In Bangladesh in 1978 or 79, he was with Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu preaching there. So they're in the villages, somewhere. And they asked their host, what time should we start the program? Well, when the people get here. They're walking 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers away. And when they start trickling in, you do the program. Okay, what time should we end the program? Well, when it's over. In Bangladesh, they got programs 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, normally, Hey, that's a big commitment, you ask those attendees. Aren't you worried about your domestic animals? Cows, we gave them some grass, we gave them some water. Are they going to scream for grains? Let them scream now. Hey, what are you worried about your kids? Don't your kids got to go to school tomorrow? We got so many kids now. The older siblings take the younger siblings to school. What do we worry about? You're a trader. Don't you got to open your shop? We got so many relatives. Somebody's going to open our shop. We're doing a courtesy, So if there's a will, there's a way. What do? You call your boss if you have integrity. Bhava Roga. I'm sick, Whoa, take care of your health, take a few days, take care of your health, like that. Or you call your co-worker. Hey, can you cover for me? Yeah, all right, I'll cover for you, like that. Or you call your boss, coming in a couple hours late, next day, because you're going to conk out. You're going to conk out and repair, like that. And if Krishna reciprocates better than you ever saw in your life, then who gives a damn for the next day? Next day you're going to be wiped out for 2 hours or 4 hours. Big deal. That's basically an attitude. Hey, if there's a will, there's a way. If there's no will, there's no way. If you're self-employed, then you can take off the next day. Like that. Or one devotee was asked, he was a book distributor. What about book distribution? I said, go out half the day now. And then my translator goes, yeah, you probably do it once a year, right? You distribute books once a year or something. So basically, the Supreme Lord basically will do anything and fulfill any desire of his devotee who serves him in that way. So one should try one's best. That's all. As much as you do. It's not what you're doing. Krishna's not interested in what you give him. He wants what's behind your back. And when you start to give that, then he becomes very, very friendly. Now, what should we do mostly for this day? Now, we should try to give Krishna a lot more on his appearance day by chanting the holy name. Try to offer him something more. The biggest thing we do is probably our japa. Sadhana iti sadhana. Your eternal wealth is your spiritual practices. Now, when I was a brand new devotee, the householders and devotees used to say, whatever you want, whatever problems you're getting, you can probably trace it to your japa. So some new householders thought, overly simplistic. Life is more complicated than that. But then when the kids grow up and they're old and coming to the dhammas to render service, they're 45, 50 years old, and you ask them that question, they'll say, Yeah, I'll probably think that whatever problems you got, you can probably trace it to your japa. When you're Tulsi Rani can fulfill all desires for the devotees, whether they have all material desires or they want liberation. She can help them out. She loves to liberate people. And she can fulfill all their desires. So basically, Chaturvargya, economic development, sense gratification, liberation, and religiosity. Tulsi Rani gives that when you're a young person. And then when the children are gone, stop the world, I want to get off. You want to show vairagya, renunciation for the children, grandchildren to follow. And Tulsi Rani can help you with that too. And she likes to liberate people. Basically, she is really a very interesting person that actually destroys obstacles. And it's described in Brahmavarta Purana that the Supreme Lord loves her so much that she is Shirodharaniya, kept on the head. And Krishna says, even I'll keep you on my head. That if Krishna or Vishnu is keeping her on his head, this means that she has got transcendental qualities that he appreciates also. Behind every great man stands a greater woman, as the saying goes, And basically, she is very soft-hearted. Now, in Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, Chapter 9, verse 46, Bhishma Pitamaha says it's very difficult to ascertain the plan of the personality of Godhead. Great sages and saintly persons inquire exhaustively, but they are bewildered. Yet, a devotee could ask his mother. Tulsi Rani is known as Jagadatri, the mother of the universe, or Janani, the mother, same thing. So you can say, Mother, Maharani, what's the plan? What's the idea? And she'll tell her child, Basically, mother tells her child. And if she tells her child in the heart, what's the plan? Then the devotee can ask Krishna. And Krishna has to tell you the plan because Tulsi Rani spilled the beans already. Already told the story. Kirtamayushtata Sukha. Hari Bhakti Vilas, chapter 9, verse 103 says, Shriyam Dehi, give me wealth. Yasha Dehi, fame. Kirtam, effulgence. Ayush, duration of life. Tata Sukha, and happiness. Balam, strength. Pushtim, nourishment. Tatat dharma, and religiosity. Tulosi tvam prasida me. Oh Tulsi, if you're pleased with me, you can give these things. So, my deities are always on my case to improve, So once I was reading my email or something and Lord Balaram didn't like that and he got angry about it and he came in the heart and he goes, "You're dying!" So one astrologer told me, I'll probably leave the body when I'm 83. So I said, Mother, Lord Balaram came and said like this, am I dying now? And she came in there and she goes, nah, you're not dying now. He's frustrated. You're not spiritual enough, that's all. So there were two things I learned from that. Don't blow his mind. Don't frustrate him too much. And we should always try to be a lot more spiritual than we are. So these days are nice. It gives us a chance to become a little bit more spiritual and offer something to the Lord. That's the idea. Offer our love to the Lord. It's kind of neat. It's a neat opportunity for us to offer something to the Lord. It's not what we're given. It's what's behind our back. And any problem we get, we can probably trace it to our rounds. Because I always like to joke, from ABC to GBC, everybody can do it a lot better than they did yesterday. No matter what it is, any of us can improve. Whatever we're doing, any of us can improve it. Like that. Hare Krishna. It's nice to be back with all our buddies here. How can I serve you? How can I serve other devotees? Anybody got a question I can serve on the Shinga Chaturdashi? It's nice. Yes, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have a question about... I was wondering if you could maybe recommend some prayers or mantras to improve the quality of our chanting, like some prayers that we can offer before we start chanting our rounds. For those, like someone who's not so, like I'm just a new practitioner, I'm not very advanced. So
there are many stutis that talk about how to improve. Basically, one should hear and chant the glories of a particular thing. So there are many observances. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has Namastakam. Based on the 8 shlokas, Sanskrit shlokas of Srila Rupa Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote 8 bhajans in Gitavali. That's neat. The other one, there is the poetry written by the unknown scholar, Agyata Kavita, it's called. Actually, it's even more attractive if you don't know who they are. Because they thought, oh, Krishna's given this. Krishna's given the inspiration. Why do I need to put my name on it? So if something is Agyata Kavita, wow, it must be really neat. You memorize that more. There's a lot of Agyata Kavita. Nobody knows who wrote it. But wow, nobody cares either. Ooh, and not only that, it must be really, really good realization. So there's a Harinamastakam written by an Agyata Kavita. And that's cool. Basically, you hear and chant the glories that help you out. Now, what's going to help you out? What do you hear and chant about? Whatever you want. Necessity is the mother of invention. You want it, you get it. Because Krishna's matakshmati jnanam apunam cha, chapter 15, verse 15. He's knowledge, forgetfulness, and remembrance. He'll give it to you, This is good for your service. Can I have it? He'll give it to the devotee. The devotee will be able to remember it. It's nice. Some devotee said, I blew a lot of marijuana when I was young. My brains are cooked. I can't memorize nothing. I go, you can beg now. Ooh. You can really beg now. Ooh. Because basically, it's a question of begging. Our whole bhakti process is begging. If you beg, you get, As Mahadyuti said, the wheel that squeaks the loudest is the first one that gets greased, You beg a lot more. The wheel that squeaks the loudest is the first one that gets greased. I liked it. That was a very funny statement, So basically, that's very, very good, And so there are many, many glories of the holy name written in Shastra. There's many. Chaitanya Charitamrita's got some. There are many. There are many shlokas. There was the one I saw upstairs in Ramapad Maharaj's room. He puts it from Vidagdha Madhava Natakam. Ulita Madhava Natakam, like that. Vidagdha Madhava Natakam. It's actually, the one I know of that same shloka is Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela 1, I think it's 79. That very exact same shloka. 99 is also cool, but I think 79 is really good. I think that's what that shloka is there. Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya 1, 79. As Haridas Thakur's comment about the holy name. And Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami and Swarup Damodarandas thought, wow, that's great, That's a really wonderful glorification of the holy name. So that's pretty good. These are different things. I mentioned necessity is the mother of invention. You need it, you get it. What are you going to memorize? What you want to memorize. That's what you learn. Abhyasanam. That when you apply something, you get it. You get mercy. Everyone says, oh, please give me your mercy, please give me your mercy. But there's no free lunch in bhakti. You got to do it. If you get off your duffer and do it, then you get something. Otherwise, you don't. It's ethereal. You still have to get more. You still have to do it. Abhyasanam. If you're not going to apply something, you have no faith in it. Simple as that. You apply exactly what you have in your life that's prioritized. And you do more. So basically, if you're going to do something, then there's priority. Now, there's a neat story in this regard by Maharaj Jaimal Rathore. And he was a 16-year-old Raja, and he died. And there's a story about him, which was in a Hindi book, Raj Ki Baat. And one Marathi disciple of Radhanath Maharaj, friend of mine in Vrindavan, he translated and sent it to me. Now, the story was this. I'll tell you the story. It's cool. So what happened was, in Rajasthan politics, my neighbor is my enemy, and my neighbor's neighbor is my friend. So that was the way it was. So this king had a tiff with his brother. Later on, he forgave his brother. But there was a tiff. So the brother lived nearby, and he was always trying to find out where's the weakness of my brother. So he attacked him 17 times, like Jarasandha, and was defeated 17 times. Didn't give up. So he sent his spies, find out the weakness of this king, okay? So the spies told him, when he's doing his puja, that's when the most vulnerable time is. He told his queen, nobody bothers me at the time of doing puja. If they bother me, then I'll give them corporal punishment. I'll kill them. So, the king entered his puja room to meditate on Shyamasundar. Okay? And so the other king's armies go out to the gate. And the commander-in-chief of the army starts to sweat. My God, we'll get overrun. This is heavy. So he went to the queen. Tell your husband that he has to come out and lead the charge now. So the queen thought, God, if anybody disturbs his puja, he'll kill them. So she was wondering what to do. And in the meantime, the army's getting bigger and bigger outside the gates. And the commander-in-chief is really sweating. My God, we're really going to get overrun? So then he went to the queen mother. Tell your son, he's got to come out now. Son! Like this. She calls out. So the king comes out of his puja room. What's going on? Oh, we're going to get attacked. Oh, we're not. And he ran to his horse and jumped on his horse and ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, led the fight, and the whole thing was over. And in the meantime, then the king comes out of his puja room. Wah! What do you mean, wah? It was a victory. What victory? Then the king went to the stable keeper, and his horse was almost dead, completely exhausted. Who rode my horse? Sire, I never let anybody touch your horse. I saw you with my own eyes. You got on the horse and drove away. He's right. The stable keeper must be right. He never lets anybody touch my horse. So the king is holding his head. Who in the hell did this, And he went outside the front. He saw all the broken chariots and the gore and the blood. My God, who did this? And he's looking around the battlefield, and he come across 2 wounded men. Who did this to you? Sire, it was Shyamasundar. He took your form. He was on your horse, and he was waving the sword very valiantly, and nobody could come in front of him. We were his devotees, so he didn't kill us. But we're against you, so he stuck us a little bit. The king laughed and called his medical officers. Fix their wounds, and if they live, then they can stay with us or go back to their kingdom as they like. So Shyamasundar thought, you're just meditating on me. You just continue to meditate on me, and I'll protect you. Shyamasundar took his form and did everything, And the king would you just meditate on Shyamasundar. So what I have to find out later on is, wow, every king has got a prime minister, mantri. Some Vaishnava Brahmins who advised him to do like that, to become so internal. Who are they? I don't know. The king is cool. Hey, he's famous, 16-year-old king. Famous. Maharaj Jaimal Rathore. But who is his mantris? His prime ministers that taught him to become so internal. So the time of doing your japa, the time of reading Bhagavatam, the time of puja, nobody knows who you are. You're not even externally aware. That is concentration. Like that. So that is very interesting. When I heard that pastime, when that devotee sent it to me, I went to Jaipur to visit my buddies there. And I asked them, the first time I asked them, hey, was there any king that was not externally noticeable like this? And they asked different people, but they didn't get the story. Then later on, this boy translated the whole thing from Hindi into English and sent it. And I go, whoa, look at that. And then I pass it out and whoo, telephone, telefax, telerumor, they went everywhere, And it got up on Dandavats.com. Woo, it got all over the place. And nice, like that. But I still haven't got my question answered. Who was his mantris that told that king to not become externally aware? Well, I have to find out. I will. When I have a curiosity, I don't give up until I get the answer. Basically, so I'll eventually get it. I'll just have to badger him, when I get back to Vraj on October 17th. Hey, Devananda Pandit, who was his mantras? Probably send him an email real quick. But if I don't get it back, then naturally, I'll have to ask him later on, hey, investigate. Who was his prime ministers, his mantris, that advised the king not to become external, not become externally aware. He was so absorbed in his meditation of Sham Sundar that he had no idea. He had closed the doors of his senses. He wouldn't even hear nobody saying anything. And he was so afraid, the queen was so afraid that the king promised to kill somebody if he messed him up. But the mother wouldn't. My child would never hurt me, like that. So she called out to the son. And Krishna came to protect his devotee. Very interesting story. So, I really need to learn that. Who were the mantris? Evidently, it was tradition those days. When you did bhajan, when you worship Krishna, you were not even externally aware. Whether it was chanting or japa, reading Bhagavatam, worshiping the deity, whatever, you were not even externally aware. Anybody could have said, a bomb could have blew up right next to you, you wouldn't know it. Somebody could have called your name, you wouldn't even know it. Like that. That is concentration. Hari. Or kya. Anything else from anybody else? Yes, Prabhu?
Repeat the question. Maharaj, what are some ways in which we can improve our service to Tulsi Devi?
Basically, Sananda Kumar gave a really good realization. I'll see him when I go to Vancouver this time. He told me 50% perspiration and 50% ashraya. If they're not ready to sweat for her, they will hardly know who she is. And I really loved that. I still do. And I thought, wow, what a wonderful Vijnana realization. Probably I'll find this Sanskrit somewhere that proves it. It's such a nice realization. When you break your rear for somebody, then they start to reveal their sweetness to you. And that is amazing glory about her. That is quite astounding. Now, one thing that, I found a couple of things that are pretty amazing about her. One thing is that her service is a limb of Krishna's service. Now that is shocking. Hey, everybody knows that she was dear to Krishna, but a limb of Krishna's service? That is astounding. Another one was Shirodhananiya, that Krishna said that I'll keep you on my head. And I thought, wow, if Lord Vishnu Krishna is keeping her on his head, then she has transcendental qualities that even he appreciates. The joke is that behind every great man stands a greater woman. Hey, and she is part of the internal potency of Krishna. She's very compassionate. She's everywhere. Hari Bhakti Vilas says if you don't have Tulsi for some reason, because sometimes you don't, then you can touch a Tulsi stick as an offering of Tulsi or invoke her name. Krishna's in everyone's heart. His spouse is not. Of course she is. So she's got that form in order for us to give a chance to serve her. That's all. Now it's starting to go downhill, I found out yesterday. And I have to ask my friends in Vancouver, what's going on? I'll give them a buzz or I'll email them. I'll find out what's going on. Turns out some of these Tulsis are so old. They're like 2 meters high. And they're like 15 years old. My God, Brother Rohit, a 62-year-old coward boy from Calgary. He tells, the Tulsis are so old, they may be 15 years also, because the bark is starting to pull off the side. That's how old it is. Now, they got some bug, something. And some Tulsis are starting to go downhill. So I heard that this may be the last Maha Tulsi Puja festival they have. So I got to write them letters. Hey! Is it overcomable? Are you dealing with the problem? It could be old age now. Maybe she's leaving because of old age. She is staying because they're doting on her. Literally. They just dote on her. And she stays a long time to accept their love. But how long, How long is a Tulsi going to stay? They stay 15 years maybe, Or like that. So Tulsi, undoubtedly, eventually, those Tulsi is going to leave. So it's a question. It could be her Antya Leela in that pastime, in that form, like that. Let's see. But these devotees are really good. Patrika is good here. You can take shelter of him. You can learn from him how to do it. Basically, one has to do gunagana, chant her glories. I asked my God, Brother Rohita, hey, when you serve her, do you chant gunagana, you chant her glories? I'm a worker. I'm not a scholar. She puts me to work. I said, if I enter her greenhouse, she puts me to work. Fluff her dirt, collect her manjaris, clean her room. Something, He said, once at 1 o'clock in the morning, in winter time, she's got 3 construction heaters in Vancouver to keep her room warm. So she came in the heart. One of my heaters is malfunctioning. Take a bath, come into my room, fix it. She puts me to work. If I want to chant my rounds, I got to circumambulate the greenhouse from outside. If you go inside, she puts you to work. So it was very interesting stuff, he's saying. And, Rohita takes time to answer emails if I ask, but he'll give his opinion. It may be later on, 3 days later, 1 week later, but he'll be good. His opinion will be really good, really shiny and stuff. So I got to call these guys up. Sananda Kumar, Rohita, hey, we heard this rumor. What's going on? It's not surprising. The Tulsis are very old, and some of them are sick and leaving, like that. It's part of old age, like that. Now, another one is Vriksha Rupa Si. Tulsi Upanishad said she has tree and non-tree form. She's everywhere. Lord Hari is within everyone's heart. His spouse is not. She must be, like that. So she's everywhere. Thank Krishna. Because people just serve her really stupidly in so many stupid ways. And she's just staying to accept their love, irregardless of how stupidly they do it. Like I was talking with Patrika yesterday on the phone, and basically the whole idea of it is that we want people to sweat efficiently. If you're going to break your rear for somebody and spend money and work for somebody, better do it good. So education means we disseminate the good information so that you could sweat efficiently. I was just in Dallas staying in one householder's house, and he did some really stupid things, It's like in the 1960s or something, one actor's there talks to one actress. God, if you had a brain, you'd be dangerous. Some actress. God, if you had a brain, you'd be dangerous, It's very, very common, If people had a brain, we would be amazed. So sometimes they just don't. And I looked at this, so I was telling Patrick about the lights that I saw. And he laughed. He goes, God, the guy's it's a really stupid lamp. If the guy needs to get something effect out of those lamps, they need 100 of them, probably, So then, okay, what is gone is gone. We got to fix it now. So basically, then we told him, okay, look, there's a marijuana growing lamp. It's like this big around, this big, 150 watts, And he puts 2 of those in there and then put them on the side and stick one on the top. Could do. Then that'll be all right for the winter time, like that. And he also had his Tulsi in a plastic pot. And I saw big clay pots in the back. Yeah, we'll transplant it. I'm going to do it before you go. Because if it's done, you believe it. So I transplanted it myself before I got into the plane. Because I want to make sure he's going to do it. So do it. You want something done right? Do it yourself, So I just transplanted her myself. Just to make sure that she did it, Clay pots, give air. They put air through the pores, You don't. I said, come on. You wouldn't put the Queen of England in a plastic hotel room, Put God's wife in a plastic pot. Come on, use your brains, If they had a brain, it'd be dangerous, So basically, you actually get off your duffer and try. Now, she is so kind that people can be pulled in to assist, and she'll make them brahminical. She'll just grab them and turn them around. Anybody. And I saw them with my own eyes. There was a girl about 10 hours east of Moscow. I didn't see her. I forgot to get her name. And because of that, I can't find her now. And I asked the president, the right-hand man, one girl who married a devotee in Mauritius, and none of them have seen her. And it's sad. So I gave a lecture about Tulsi Rani in that city. And after my lecture, she came forward and she told me her story. She was a Mali, a gardener. Really expert in taking care of tropical plants in the winter indoors. In Nizhny Novgorod in January, it's like -19 centigrade in the shade. I've been there in January. It's that cold. Yeah. So this girl, her neighbor, a devotee, had to go to Moscow to make money. Typical. 90% of the wealth in that country is in the capital city. So, naturally, who's going to take care of my Tulsi Rani in the 2 months I'm gone? So she gave it to her neighbor, who was very good at taking tropical plants in the winter. What is this? This is a plant from India. Well, what should I do? We'll give it water and sing songs. I didn't ask her what did she sing. Tulsi Rani's Baba Grahi. Girl's trying her best. She doesn't know, no? And in 2 weeks, flat, the whole girl's life changed. She became antarmukh. It's internally facing. She was thinking, what kind of life am I leading? She became a vegetarian and gave up drinking in the middle of the winter. Now, for a Russian girl, that's pretty big. Then, she bought a Bhagavad Gita on the streets of Nizhny Novgorod. There are very few book distributors in this world. She was marked. She gets mercy. Then, in the Bhagavad Gita, it told her, come to the temple. Now, how many people buy our books and come to our temple? She did. Okay, then, when she got to the temple, they said, take prasad in the cafe. How many people buy our books? Come to the temple and eat prasad. She did. Then after she took prasad in the cafe, they said, why don't you go upstairs and see Gaurnatai? How many people come to our temple, buy our books, come to the temple, eat prasad, and go see Gaurnatai? She did. Next to Gaurnatai was Tulsi Rani growing. Oh, I got a plant like that. And everybody knows Tulsi Rani just turned her around from scratch. Then there was another story. On Saturdays in Moscow in 89 or so, I used to do programs in the medical school. Now, kids are basically legalized burglars. And their parents got to stick them somewhere now. When they go to college, they got to go to college. And in Russia and Ukraine, it has to be 30% of the cost of an Indian education college. So the parents will send the kids there. And the kids will cram the local language, because Indian kids are good at cramming languages. Within 7 months, 8 months, they cram the local language. Okay? And they learn their college subject in that language. Like that. So, in the hostel, medical hostel, you had the Bangladeshis, the Pakistanis, the Nepalis, and the Sri Lankans, and the Orias, and the Biharis, all in one hostel. And they play cricket on Sunday. Typical stuff. They had a little hostel room where they dwell. And so they put a parda, they put plastic to bifurcate it into 3 sections. This is your 2.5 square meters. Do whatever you want. Hardly enough to lay down in, And somebody had a little altar with a small sapling of Tulsi Rani. What's the matter with you? You're from Southeast Asia. What's your etiquette? Nah. Offer her obeisances. Come on! Just offer her a little incense. Come on! Give 1 drop of water. And then 6 months later, their Jack Daniels, their chicken tikka, their Dhumrapan smoking out the window. They didn't, their parents are proud of our kids are up right now, It took 6 months. So I said, basically what it is, it's 2 things. If you're going to work hard for her, then she'll turn your life around in 2 weeks flat. And if it's just now and then 6 months to do her magic. She'll get you. It's a question of when. Just like for offering neck beads. Now, people would think that you could give neck beads only to initiated devotees, people that are chanting, following the 4 regular principles. But I got the Sanskrit that you can give neck beads to anybody. And Vishnu Dharmottara says, Asutram, they're not clean. Anacharo, they're condemnable. Mamaveti, they'll achieve me eventually. Na samsaya, don't doubt it. Now we may have a doubt. Okay, let's let our grandfather, grandmother, auntie, uncle, meat eater, drunkard, the last 8 days before they croak. We'll take Tulsi Rani in the hospital, because who eats meat or drinks liquor the last 8 days of your life, right? When you're going downhill. The problem with that logic, what happens if they have a massive heart attack on the street and you kick yourself with your teeth? You didn't do enough for them. Therefore, give it to your relatives yesterday. Just like it was very funny. There was an arborist. Somebody asked him, what's a good time to plant a fruit tree? And he said, last season. I like that. Last season. Very funny, Hey, if you want something done good, do it yesterday, Sigram, shubhasya sa sigram. If something is auspicious, do it immediately, is a statement. But sigram means immediate, but sigram also means, I should have done it before. Get off your rear and do it. I should have done it before. Like that. So that's part of it. See, the more you do, the more you get. Sure, you become an assistant to somebody else. Like Patrika moved to what? Palatine or something like that? And he's not here a lot. So that means you can assist him. You can assist him in serving the Tulsis here. Like that. And work underneath him. It's an idea. Could do. These are some ideas. But no matter who it is, he, she, or it, anybody that serves her. Actually, I thought, you can even take Tulsi neck beads and offer them to the deity. You can put them around your domestic animals if you think they're fallen devotees. Then you could. Basically, there was another thing, is that the madhvas keep up the Tulsi leaf prasadam in the crux of your ear to purify any sound vibration that enters the ear. And they take that out of that prasadam leaf out of their ear, and they throw it in the mouth of a dying cat or dying animal or something like that. Have a good journey, You never know when you're going to need it, When you never. The thing about it is, which is probably interesting, is that they take it out of their ear literally and they throw it in. But, if you don't have Tulsi for any reason, you could touch a Tulsi stick as an offering of Tulsi or invoke her name. This means you could keep a Tulsi stick with you, or you could invoke her name all the time, Like that. It's neat. These are positive aspects of it. Nrsimha Bhagavan ki jai. Hari.